Hi guys, and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things Harry Potter related. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Chamber of Secrets. The Chamber of Secrets was my favorite book. I absolutely love the way J.K. Rowling created suspense with slowly unraveling the mystery of the Chamber of Secrets throughout the novel. In this video, I'm going to talk about what we know about the Chamber of Secrets, including material published by J.K. Rowling after the book, in the J.K. Rowling Originals, available for reading on the Wizarding World website. Then I'm going to provide a summary of how the Chamber of Secrets was unraveled in the book, which is a bit different from the movie. The Chamber of Secrets was created by Salazar Slytherin, without the knowledge of the other three founders of Hogwarts. The chamber was, for many centuries, believed to be a myth. However, because rumors of its existence remained for so long, it must mean that Slytherin spoke of its creation. What's interesting is that we know that each of the four founders put their own mark on Hogwarts. They constructed their own houses, choosing the location of common rooms and dormitories. However, only Slytherin went further. He essentially built a secret headquarters within the school, accessible only to himself or those he allowed to enter. In the J.K. Rowling Originals, Rowling writes, and this part is not included in the books by the way, that when Slytherin first constructed the chamber, Slytherin only wanted a place in which to instruct his students in spells of which the other three founders might have disapproved, as disagreements sprung up early around the teaching of the dark arts. However, it's clear by the decoration of the Chamber of Secrets that by the time Slytherin finished its construction, he had developed grand ideas of his own importance to the school, as no other founder left behind a gigantic statue of themselves or decorated the school in symbols of their own personal powers, such as the snakes carved around the Chamber of Secrets, which are a reference to Slytherin being a Parselmouth. What is certain is by the time Slytherin was forced out of Hogwarts by the other three founders, he had decided that the chamber he built would be the lair of a monster that he alone or his descendants would be able to control, a basilisk. Only a Parselmouth would be able to enter the chamber. The existence of the chamber was known to Slytherin's descendants and those they shared the information with. Thus, the rumor stayed alive for hundreds of years. In the J.K. Rowling Originals, Rowling writes that rumors that a monster lived in the depths of the castle were spread for centuries. This is because those who could hear and speak to it were not very discreet. The Gaunt family, the descendants of Slytherin, and the ancestors of Tom Riddle could not resist boasting about this knowledge. However, as nobody who was not a Parselmouth could hear the creature sliding in the plumbing, beneath the floors, and in between the walls, they did not have many believers. None of Slytherin's ancestors who could hear the basilisk until Riddle dared to unleash the monster in the castle. Many headmasters searched the castle over the centuries, each time concluding that the chamber was a myth. The reason for their failure was that none of them was a Parselmouth. So that's a wrap on the first half of this video. What I found most interesting was that in the J.K. Rowling Originals, Rowling expands on the idea that other descendants of Slytherin prior to Tom Riddle knew about the existence of the Chamber of Secrets and potentially entered it. It's interesting that none of them went as far as to let the basilisk out on the castle. Now, let's move on to the second half of the video and take a look at how the Chamber of Secrets was introduced throughout the book. Things begin to unravel when Harry is doing his detentions for the flying car incident, helping Lockhart answer his fan mail. In Lockhart's office, Harry hears a strange voice. He becomes even more alarmed when Lockhart claims to have heard nothing at all. The voice that Harry hears in Professor Lockhart's office is the first sign of the conflict to come. Harry hears a strange voice that nobody else can hear, and we as a reader are left guessing as to what the source of the voice might be. This is the first sign that something is wrong at Hogwarts, and it's not much later in the novel when Harry, Ron, and Hermione escape nearly headless Nick's 500th Death Day party. Harry again hears a strange voice. He tears off in the direction from which he heard it, with his friends close behind. When they arrive in an empty corridor and see written on the wall, "The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the heir, beware." Then, from the ceiling, they see Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, hanging petrified. The empty corridor now begins to fill with people coming out of the feast, and Draco Malfoy is grinning and looking pleased, shouts out, "You'll be next, mudbloods." Next, in the history of magic class, Hermione raises her hand and persuades Professor Binns to explain the history of the Chamber of Secrets. We then learn that Salazar Slytherin wanted to exclude all Muggle-born wizards from the school. Slytherin then left the school over this disagreement with the other three founders, but only after he built a hidden Chamber of Secrets, which contained a monster that would wipe out all non-pureblood wizards from Hogwarts. He said that only his heir would be able to control it. This knowledge causes Harry to worry because the Sorting Hat told him that Slytherin would make him great. He hopes he's not somehow connected to Salazar Slytherin. Harry, Ron, and Hermione start to speculate if Malfoy could be the heir of Slytherin. Hermione suggests that they could find out by making a Polyjuice potion to turn themselves into Slytherins and spy on Malfoy. Later, Harry, Ron, and Hermione sign up for the new student dueling club to learn to duel, in which Harry is matched up with Malfoy to demonstrate for the entire club. Snape whispers something to Malfoy, who immediately conjures a snake from his wand. Lockhart tries to help, but instead makes the snake angrier and sends a right at Justin Finch Fletchley. Instinctively, Harry calls out to the snake, telling it to leave Justin alone. This stops the snake. Harry's relieved, but the class is terrified, and only after class, Harry finds out through Ron and Hermione that he spoke Parseltongue, something for which Salazar Slytherin himself was famous for. This is one of my favorite parts in the novel because Harry, and we as the reader, begin to question if he really could be the heir of Slytherin. One thing I wondered was if Snape told Malfoy to conjure a snake coincidentally, as it is simply the Slytherin mascot, or because he wanted to see for himself if Harry was a Parseltongue. I'd really love to know your thoughts on this. Please do leave a comment letting me know what you think. Harry, Ron, and Hermione begin to set their Polyjuice potion plan in motion. Hermione instructs Harry and Ron to leave 2 sleeping potion-filled cakes in easy places for Crabbe and Goyle to find. Hide them in a closet and pluck out a few of their hairs for the potion. Ron and Harry do this and return to Hermione, who already has her hair. During the dueling club, Hermione was paired with Millicent, and one of the hairs from the Slytherin girl wound up on Hermione's clothes. They all add their hairs to their potion and drink them. Harry transforms into Goyle and Ron into Crabbe. However, Hermione refuses to come out of her stall, so Harry and Ron must set off alone. Unfortunately, they don't know where the Slytherin common room is, so they wander around until they encounter Malfoy, who leads them into the Slytherin common room. Malfoy speaks of the last attack by the heir and how a girl was killed, and how he hopes that this time Hermione will be killed. He also says that he wishes he knew who the heir was so he could help him. After some time, the spell begins to wear off, and Harry and Ron make their escape and head back to Hermione, who is still in the stall because it turns out to be a cat's hair she used in the potion, turning her into a cat. Later on, after Harry and Ron are on their way back from visiting Hermione in the hospital wing, they hear Filch yelling. They round the corner to see a flood of water coming out of Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. They go inside to investigate and find a diary. They examine it and notice the name T.M. Riddle written on it. However, the rest of the pages are blank. Ron recognizes the name from when he had to polish trophies for his detention and remembers that T.M. Riddle was rewarded for special services to the school 50 years ago. They take the diary and show it to Hermione when she recovers. They come to the conclusion that Riddle must have been awarded for catching whoever had opened the Chamber of Secrets 50 years ago. Later on in the novel, Harry writes his name on one of the pages in the diary, and suddenly the ink disappears. And new words start to appear reading, "Hello, Harry Potter. My name is Tom Riddle. How did you come by my diary?" This starts a dialogue between Harry and Tom Riddle. Riddle confirms that he was awarded the medal for catching the person who was responsible for opening the Chamber of Secrets. Riddle then invites Harry to visit his memory. Harry agrees and is suddenly taken in by the diary, taking him back in time. Harry witnesses a conversation between Riddle and the headmaster of Hogwarts at the time, where we find that Riddle's request to remain at Hogwarts for the summer holidays is turned down because of the recent danger arising from the opening of the Chamber of Secrets. Harry then follows Riddle through the corridors, running into a younger Dumbledore who tells Riddle to head back to his dormitory. Riddle and Harry wait in the dungeons for a long time, until they hear footsteps approaching. The footsteps belong to a younger Hagrid, who's trying to hide something inside a box. Riddle says that he must turn Hagrid in for keeping the guilty monster, but Hagrid protests that the animal inside the box is innocent. Riddle takes out his wand, casting open the box and releasing a giant hairy spider that hurriedly runs away. Harry is then transported back into real time. Harry, Ron, and Hermione discuss what the diary showed and the possibility that Hagrid could be behind the Chamber of Secrets. They debate asking him, but decide against it for the time being. Things are surprisingly normal for some time, until the Hufflepuff-Gryffindor Quidditch match. The evening before the game, Harry finds that his dormitory has been broken into and the Riddle diary has been taken. The morning of the match, Harry hears the strange voice again. Hermione heads to the library. Harry heads to the Quidditch match. As the Quidditch match is set to begin, Professor McGonagall steps onto the pitch and stops the game, telling all students to return to their houses, and for Harry and Ron to follow her to the hospital wing, where they find Hermione and a Ravenclaw girl, Penelope Clearwater, petrified, with a small hand mirror lying next to them. The students are all told to remain in their house common rooms from 6 p.m. on, and always to be escorted by teachers to and from class. It's beginning to look like the school could be closed down unless the attacks are stopped. Ron and Harry decide that it's time to visit Hagrid. They head to Hagrid's cabin underneath Harry's invisibility cloak. Not long after they enter Hagrid's cabin, they hear a knock on the door and hide in the corner using the invisibility cloak. Dumbledore enters the cabin accompanied by Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. Fudge explains to Hagrid that in light of the current circumstances, he must ask him to leave Hogwarts and reside in Azkaban until the events are solved. Dumbledore states that he trusts Hagrid entirely, but Fudge says that he must act or else the Ministry will think he's doing nothing to stop the attacks. While this is being discussed, the door opens again and Lucius Malfoy enters the cabin. Lucius Malfoy announces that the 12 school governors have signed a petition calling for Dumbledore to step down as headmaster. Dumbledore consents without protest, saying only these words, "You will find that I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. You will also find that help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it." Hagrid leaves more hesitantly, calling out behind him 2 instructions for Harry and Ron, to follow the spiders and feed Fang, his dog. The burden of discovering who's responsible for opening the Chamber of Secrets now lies entirely with Harry and Ron, now that Hermione is petrified and the diary is gone, leaving Harry unable to communicate with Riddle. Harry and Ron, accompanied by Fang, set out into the forest. They soon find a few spiders making their way deep into the forest away from the paths. Harry and Ron follow them for some time until they hear something moving in the trees. They are relieved to see that the Weasleys' flying car that hid the Whomping Willow is now living in the Forbidden Forest. Suddenly, they are captured by 3 horse-sized spiders. The spiders carry them off to meet with an elderly spider called Aragog. The spider speaks with them when they say they have been sent by Hagrid. We learn from Aragog that the school thought he was the monster within the chamber, but really he had been given to Hagrid as an egg and raised in captivity. We also learn that the real monster in the castle is the creature most feared by spiders, and because of that, its name is not spoken. Interestingly, we find out that the creature's victim was found in the toilets. After informing Harry and Ron of this, Aragog instructs his children to eat them. All of a sudden, just as we're thinking they're doomed, they hear a horn and see the flying car coming to their rescue. They open the door, shove in Fang in themselves, and escape the Forbidden Forest. Once they're back inside Hogwarts, they feel discouraged at having found no clues. It's only once Harry gets in bed does it occur to him that the girl found in the bathroom 50 years back could be Moaning Myrtle. Later, Harry and Ron try to head towards Myrtle's bathroom, only to run into Professor McGonagall. They lie and say they're going to visit Hermione, not wanting to get caught in their lie. They head to the hospital wing where they discover that clasped in Hermione's hand is a piece of paper containing information about the basilisk, which explains all of the strange things that have been going on. It lives for hundreds of years, speaks in Parseltongue, kills with its stare, and is the enemy of spiders. Underneath the paragraph, Hermione had written pipes, and Harry and Ron realized that this means the pipes in Myrtle's bathroom. Everything fits. All of the voices in the mysterious attacks make sense. Nobody has died because all the petrified victims have seen the basilisk through something else. Miss Norris, a puddle of water. Colin, his camera. Justin, through nearly headless Nick. Hermione and Penelope through a mirror. Harry and Ron decide to go to the staff room to show this to McGonagall, only to hear an announcement that another attack has occurred and teachers must report to the staff room immediately. Hiding behind in the staff room, Harry and Ron overhear Ginny Weasley has been taken into the Chamber of Secrets, and that written on the wall were the words, "Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever." McGonagall then announces that Hogwarts will be closed, the students sent home the following morning. Lockhart enters the meeting and all the teachers turn on him, challenging him to take on the monster by himself. Later, Harry and Ron walk to Lockhart's office to try to help him by telling him what they know of the monster. When they find him in his office packing his bags, getting ready to run away, Lockhart confesses that he has never fought a dark arts creature before in his life. It turns out he interviewed people who did the things he claimed to do, and then erased their memory, and then claimed their adventures as his own. He then prepares to erase Harry and Ron's memories. However, Harry casts a spell and Lockhart's wand flies into his hands. Harry and Ron force Lockhart to go with them to Myrtle's bathroom. They ask her about her death and she tells them that the last thing she remembers was a pair of large yellow eyes. Meanwhile, Harry spots a small snake carved onto the taps of the sink. Speaking in Parseltongue, Harry talks to the snake carved on the tap of the sink and tells it to open, and it does, revealing the opening of the Chamber of Secrets. Well, there you have it. That's the end of my summary of how the Chamber of Secrets was unraveled in the book. I have to say, the Chamber of Secrets was my favorite Harry Potter book, and I absolutely enjoyed the way the mystery was slowly revealed throughout the book. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and your experience reading it for the first time. Please do let me know in the comments. Feel free to also let me know if there's a specific topic you would like me to cover in an upcoming video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one, where I'm going to rank all the magical means of transportation used in Harry Potter. Stay tuned.